talk for a minute about what Good Friday is not. I feel like a lot of people have something to say about Good Friday. And the thing I notice about the people who often have something to say about Good Friday is they're not the ones who are here. They're not the people who show up at the foot of the cross. So to be clear, Good Friday doesn't happen because David was a bad boy. Right? This is not about how rotten you are, and therefore Jesus had to die. That's not what Good Friday is about. It's not about beating ourselves up and being aware of all the ways we fall short. I mean, we have to be aware of those things anyway. And as we heard last night, know that God loves us anyway. That is already a part of our lives. God didn't need for Jesus to die. There's not some giant ledger in the sky where God is keeping score of all the things you did wrong. Just my page would take a lot. Right? God is not a giant accountant in the sky. Not that there's anything wrong with accountants. That's not the way God works. Good Friday is the day that reveals the truth about us and about the world. That's what Good Friday does. You see, it's not that the Jews killed Jesus, the people of Jerusalem. It's not that you killed Jesus. Empire, Rome killed Jesus. This was a state execution that happened. Hate killed Jesus. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. You see, God loves you no matter what. And I'll tell you a secret. God loves you if Good Friday never happened. If Good Friday never happened, God would still love you. When God says God loves you, there is no asterisk. There is no terms and conditions. There is no only if. God loves you, period. Full stop. Good Friday shows us the extent to which God loves us. God loves us so much that God will choose life and love even when it leads to the cross. How many ways could Jesus have stopped this execution? How many ways could Jesus have stopped this road that led to Calvary? But he chose not to. Again and again he chose not to. As we hear the story in Luke's gospel, Jesus is confronted again and again with hatred, with mocking, with all sorts of violence and ridicule. The story of Good Friday sounds like the evening news, frankly. Jesus doesn't play that game, though. He doesn't try and one-up or prove his case. He simply says, I love you and I forgive you. I love you and I forgive you. His disciples know that there is another way, right? They say, hey, look, Jesus, we've got guns. Let's use them. Let's hit them before they hit us. Nuclear deterrent, Jesus. One of them draws out a sword even. Fires on an innocent passerby. One of the servants, the enslaved people who works for the high priest, cuts his ear off. And Jesus doesn't say, good for you, the rest of you, let's go. He says, stop. That's the Good Friday message right there. He says, stop, and he heals the hurt. He heals the pain, and he heals the brokenness. He reaches out and he heals that servant, and he says to his disciples, stop. Empires, states, the world, whatever you want to call it, only knows one solution, and that's violence. It's the only solution. Whether you're talking Ukraine or Minneapolis or Houston, whether you're talking Israel and Palestine or Serbia or anywhere else in the world, every problem, it seems like we have the same solution. And it looks just like this. That's what Good Friday is about. Good Friday, Jesus says there is another way. There's a way of love and forgiveness and healing. We learn on Good Friday that there is another way besides violence and hatred and retribution. That way is love, and love, folks, is costly. Love is not easy. I'm not talking romantic love, although that's part of it. I'm talking the love of our neighbor, the love of standing up for justice and righteousness in our communities and in the world. The love of Jesus that cannot be silent while people are suffering. The love that says, if I were quiet, these very stones would shout out. Love is costly. It will not make you any friends. Because the world wants violence. The world wants hatred. The world wants us at each other's throats. Love is costly. Good Friday shows us the cost of that love. The cost of love is the cross. Every time. Coming up to Jerusalem, Jesus said, "Oh, Jerusalem, you city who kills the prophets and those who are sent to you, all those who have come and told you love in the past, you've killed them. All those who have told us love ever since, we've killed them. Today we count that cost." And frankly, it sounds like a good reason to give up on love, doesn't it? I don't know that I'm ready for my cross. Good Friday won't let us deny that love comes with that cost. But the deal is, we know Good Friday's not the end, right? We gather this day and we look at the truth. We look at the unvarnished, painful truth. How much our world doesn't want us to look at truth. Wants to skip over the hard parts and get to the good parts. Today we look at the truth, but in the back of our minds, we know we've got our plans for Sunday. We know that yes, love is costly, but when the story ends, Easter tells us that love is worth it, that the reward of love is even greater than that cost. But we have to be prepared for the cost first. Good Friday is not God's ultimate punishment. It's the reality of the world. And Good Fridays are happening still. Still, people are dying because violence is seen as the answer by us. By those who rule on our behalf, by those who rule in other parts of the world. Good Friday is still happening. Our job is to see that cost and to speak out for love, to speak out for justice, to speak out for the way of Jesus, and to remember that God loves us no matter what. And so we love one another. And just as Jesus loved to the cross, we love no matter the cost.